Imagine zipping through the city on a monorail that's like nothing else in the world. Today, we're diving into the Brennan monorail, an unbelievable invention that takes transportation on another level. Ever heard of a self-balancing train? Probably not, because it's something you didn't know existed. Stick around to uncover how this genius invention is revolutionizing travel. What is the Brennan monorail? Picture a train from the early 1900s. Not just any train, but one that seemed to laugh in the face of physics. Balancing on a single rail, it had a neat trick up its sleeve, leaning into corners all on its own. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But it's real, and Louis Brennan, the brain behind this unbelievable invention, showed it off to the world in 1910. Why go for one rail instead of two? Simple: speed and cost. With just one rail, trains could zoom around corners faster, and building railroads wouldn't break the bank. But here's the kicker: how did Brennan's train stay stable without toppling over? Hold that thought. Now, forget those bulky monorails you see today, high up on giant tracks. The Brennan monorail was different. It could cruise on regular tracks, yet it had a secret weapon that kept it as stable as a table. Inside, there was this mind-blowing tech: a gyroscope. Something you might think belongs more in 2020 than 1910. But how did this gyroscope keep the whole show on the road without passengers feeling a thing? Let's dive deeper. We've gone full detective mode, modeling the whole shebang and digging through old patents to show you just how smart this genius invention was. But to really get what's going on, we need to chat about gyroscopes. Ever wondered what makes a gyroscope so special in keeping things balanced? How does a gyroscope work? It's all about spinning discs, or gyros. Visualize it like this: when you spin a disc really fast, it loves to stay upright, thanks to something called angular momentum. Try to tilt it, and it doesn't just flop over, it sort of dances in a circle. That's precession for you. But here's the cool part: if you make it precess on purpose, the disc tilts the other way. It's like magic, but it's science. This is what keeps the monorail from tipping over. But wait, how did Brennan use this for his genius invention? Now, Brennan put this idea to a test with a mini train. He slapped a small flywheel inside and hooked it up to a motor. The train starts to lean, the disc precesses, and bam! It's upright again. Pretty neat, right? But things got tricky when the train turned corners. The gyro wanted to stay put, but the train had other plans. This mismatch made the train lean, and whoops, off the track it went. To fix this, Brennan played a masterstroke. He added a second gyro spinning the opposite way, linked with gears. When one gyro went left, the other went right. So when the train turned, both gyros were like, nope, we're not moving. But they had to, and this canceled out the unwanted leaning. Pretty smart, huh? But Brennan wasn't done yet. He moved to a big boy version, a 22-ton beast with gyros spinning super fast. Now, imagine the challenge of balancing this giant. How do you think the gyros coped with the massive weight of this on another level creation? Scaling up to a full-sized monorail wasn't a walk in the park. Those gyros now had to fight gravity and keep a 22-ton machine steady. It's one thing to balance a model train, but a massive monorail, that's in the world of tough challenges. The gyros had to be way stronger. Think about it. How do you balance something that heavy without it tipping over? If you're loving this deep dive into the mind-blowing Brennan monorail, hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey of exploring the most unbelievable inventions in the world. Balancing the Brennan monorail. So, how does the Brennan monorail, this unbelievable invention, stay perfectly balanced? It's like a tightrope walker constantly fighting gravity, a battle where falling over seems inevitable. But here's where it gets interesting. The monorail leans, and gravity pulls it down harder. The natural balancing act? Not enough to keep this beast stable. Enter Brennan's brainwave, controlling the gyro's precession, the key to this whole balancing act. Imagine spinning a top faster than usual. That's what he did with the gyros. By speeding them up, the train got a stronger push to right itself. But how did Brennan supercharge these gyros? Here's where it gets wild. He hooked them up to a petrol engine, and get this, encased them in vacuum-sealed casings to cut down friction. But wait, there's more. What happens if the power cuts? Believe it or not, these gyros keep spinning for 30 minutes before the train even thinks about tipping over. Now, isn't that something you didn't know about the Brennan monorail? Brennan's next move? He placed the gyros on a single gimbal, allowing them to rotate right along with the train's roll. Think of it like a ball rolling on a surface. As the train leans, the gyros touch these plates, and they roll, forcing the train back upright. But there was a hitch. Vibrations. They caused the gyros to bounce, making the force all jittery. Brennan's solution was pure genius invention material. He ditches the plates and fixes the gyros right onto the train's chassis. So, when the train tips, the gyros do their thing, processing naturally. And here's the kicker. On one side, a gyro's axle controls an actuator rod. This rod works with a lever and valves, managing compressed airflow. Think of it like a clever dance of mechanics and air pressure. As the train tilts, the system springs into action. By controlling the valves, compressed air rushes into a tube, pushing a gear rack and forcing the gyros to spin the other way, pulling the train back to balance. But how does this happen so quickly, keeping the train from ever getting too off kilter? The secret sauce here is the pneumatic system. It's like using a small force to create a much bigger one. The compressed air spreads evenly, reaching a larger piston that amplifies the force. This system takes the force of the train tipping and flips it on its head, literally using it against itself to keep the train level. Have you ever imagined a train so stable that even a crowd on one side can't tip it? That's the monorail for you, on a level you didn't know existed, making it one of the most remarkable machines in the world. What happened to the Brennan monorail? Brennan's monorail was a big hit at first. It looked like the unbelievable invention of tomorrow. But investors just weren't sold on it. They were all about the classic two-track trains. And since each carriage needed its own gyroscope, that's what really put the brakes on this genius invention. But hey, isn't it cool to dig up these awesome ideas you didn't know about? It's like finding hidden gems in the world of transport. Speaking of gems, what do you think made the Brennan monorail stand out? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, if you want to continue this amazingness of information-filled videos, click here.